6650, I think. Is that right? Oh, okay. Oh, I got the wrong number at the end. Okay. Sorry. Yep, got it. No, it's fine. Sorry. Yeah, Art also said I suppose the grain would be helpful too. How does it feel to be 19?
Hare Krishna, good morning. For the pleasure of their lordships, chant the devotional bhajan, Jai Radha Madhava, by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Baba, Girivaradhari. Gopijana Baba, Girivaradhari. Yasodanandana Prasajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Prasajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Prasajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jayam Shri Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paravajakacharya Satara His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories, all glories, all glories to the assembled devotees. Okay, So this is 10th Canto, 66th chapter, and the verse here is 21. So word by word and translation. Iti, with these words, Shiptva, deriding, Shitai, sharp, Banai, with his arrows, Virati, chariot-less, Kritya, making, Pondrakam, Pondraka, Shiha, his head, Avirskat, he cut off, Tata Angana, with his Sudarshan disc, Vrajana, with his thunderbolt weapon, Indra, Lord Indra, Yata, as, Gire, of a mountain, Iti Shiptva Sater Baner, Virati Kritya Pondrakam, Shiro Virskarat Ratangena, Vajranandro Yatagare. Ladies. Okay, so the translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Having thus derided Pundraka, Lord Krishna destroyed his chariot with his sharp arrows. The Lord then cut off his head with a Sudarshan disc, just as Lord Indra lops off a mountain peak with his thunderbolt weapon. Verse 22. Tata kashipate kayak chira ut kritya patribihi nayapatyat kasya puryam padma kosham evanilaha. With his sharp arrows, Lord Krishna similarly severed Kasiraja's head from his body, sending it flying into Kashi city like a lotus flower blown by the wind. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains why Krishna threw Kasiraja's head into the city. As he went off to battle, the king of Kashi had promised the citizens, "My dear residents of Kashi, today I will bring the enemy's head into the midst of the city. Have no doubt about this." The king's sinful queens had also boasted to their maids in waiting, "Today our master will certainly bring the head of the Lord of Dwarka." Therefore, the Supreme Lord threw the king's head into the city to astonish the inhabitants. Om Agyan Tamarandasya Janana Sakalaya Chatu Maitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha. Everybody please chant Prabhupada's pranams. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskachita Satarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripasindu vaivyacha, titanam pavanevambhyo, vaishnavebhyo, namo namaha. This is a fairly dramatic and graphic descriptive activity of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So I'm pretty sure everybody has gone through the different Pundrik, descriptions from the Krishna book and their other couple of places. So I was considering the effects of demoniac activities on children in society. Our kids grow up and they're hearing these stories. They're seeing dramatic reenactments, sometimes quite dramatic. We cheer when the blood is flowing and the heads come off. And then there's these weapons, these astral weapons. Like we're worried about nuclear weapons, but maybe we should be worried about these astral weapons, which kind of outdo the nuclear weapons. And then there's the mental mindset of the Asuras. Some of the influences on children and adults as well even, but I was thinking particularly of children, that if they are part of such activities, they witness these activities, they hear these activities, like in war-torn countries, which are not, they're pretty graphic. You're in your school, just sitting in your school trying to learn your lesson, and some crazed maniac drives into your school with a big truck and then jumps out and starts blah, 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 with some, this happened just a few days ago. And it's not such a one-off thing anymore. And some of the effects can be that you become immunized. Like violence becomes normalized. Lack of boundaries, indifference, and the big T word now, the trauma, so much trauma. I had a god sister living in a Nazi-occupied country during World War II. Jewish background, so you can know that was a constant anxiety and fear. And then one day, they knocked on the door, but they didn't wait to be left in. They just barged in and right in front of her, just took her parents away. But somehow or other, one of the relatives had the wherewithal before that person was taken to run out the back door and throw the baby. She was a little, maybe like, not baby, but young, toddler-like, maybe, threw her over the fence in the backyard into the neighbors until, this was not noticed. So they just threw her over the fence, took her parents, took everybody away. And as the saying goes, from that moment forever, her life was changed forevermore. And she still remembers just being thrown over the fence and the ensuing reactions to that situation. So quite often, she has wonderful skills in serving Krishna, but on the other hand, there's kind of a mental type of imbalance. A lot of times they'll just say, oh, so-and-so, she's just crazy. Who wouldn't be? Oh. And then she had the pleasure, dubious pleasure, of discovering that children were being abused. Yeah, she's crazy. Another god sister, very incredible personality, no longer on the planet now. But in Poland, she was Polish. And that pushed in and just, boom, started slaughtering the family right in front of her as a young child. And somehow she wasn't killed. But you can imagine the overwhelming anxiety attacks that she would experience as a result. And even after she became a devotee, she joined in London, there would be times when she was overwhelmed and she'd just say, just take me to the hospital. I need to go for a little while. It's not that she had no faith in the holy name. She had full faith, actually. But it's like sometimes the rain is so hard, even an umbrella, doesn't fully keep you dry, and she needed help. We got friendly with the nurses there to make sure she would, in fact, bring her prasadam when this would happen. Come and read with her. Actually, on one occasion, she knew herself, and she felt, okay, well, I can go now. So she let them know, and at that point, we had just moved into the manor. And for some reason, the administration was really skeptical about releasing her, to the devotees. And so I was always the one to stand up in these situations, and I said, it's not like we run around naked or anything like that. I don't even know why I said that, but that's what I said to them. I said, it's not like that. And so then the next day, during deity greeting, there was this new person who was just coming for the first time. Maybe she wasn't going to stay, maybe she was, but it was, and you know how the dancing and chanting can become very blissful and overwhelming, exciting, especially for somebody new. Like one time in Los Angeles, 67, we were full of bliss, Hari bowling, but I was always watching Prabhupada, and I saw his eyes getting larger and larger. And he goes like this, and I turn around, and here was this new person stripping off her clothes in ecstasy. And so he's indicating. So I danced over, and I picked up her clothes, and I danced her over to the side. I said, actually, we wear clothes here. So we're having this ecstatic kirtan, and suddenly the same thing happened. This new person for the first time is taking off her clothes, and devotees are running after, trying to capture her to get her clothes back on. And all of a sudden, like they had the main entry at that point was like a door here. Door opens up, and here comes Kalangana and the people from the hospital. And I just like, oh my God, what a thing to see. And they're still chasing this girl, trying to get her, capture to get the clothes on. And I ran up, I said, it's not what you think, it's not what you think, Anyways, somehow they were pacified and had her to stay. Another god sister, having grown up post-war, when things weren't always as good as they could be, and was a large family. So it was always kind of tight, the chain of food coming down, So she got in a habit as a kid, because she was on the younger side, hoarding food in case, like whatever she could get, she would hoard food in case she would be hungry later. So this is another thing, this anxiety. She used to do the same thing, and I couldn't figure it out. Like we always had, and she was on my Sankirtan party, traveling in Europe. So we always had, what traveling Sankirtan party doesn't have enough to eat, So I couldn't understand it. And then we talked about it, and she explained to me, that anxiety is not having enough to eat, What about Sri Prahlad? What was going on in his head? We know what was going on. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In spite of the horrific experiences he was receiving as a result of his father. How many of you just saw that recent movie that's out? You know, so there he was. You see it full head on. You know, and he's just chanting. But it wasn't that he was just chanting. He had a firm commitment to the instructions of his guru. He was never going to leave his guru, Sri Narada. You know, he wasn't thinking, oh, why is this happening to me? You know, he wasn't going outside to find some, you know, pseudo-psychological or, you know, new age type of cure or, you know, intervention. No, he was just deeply committed to the instructions of his guru. He explained that his Guru Maharaj has instructed him on the process of transcendence. Therefore, how could I ever leave his service? Oh. May not be so easy for ourselves or our children if they have to witness such atrocities. You know. It's called the silent wounds of war for children. You know. They you know, sometimes I'm thinking about this. What time? Okay. So, you know, our children are seeing these, I mean, for us it's totally ecstatic, right? They chop a head off, Haribol! We hear about the arms and legs and the dead bodies all over the place, that elephants are cut up like anything, and the horses and the cavalry. Blood is flowing like rivers. Haribol! Has anybody ever thought about that? You know, like, and yet at the same time, yeah, it is ecstatic because, okay, was a righteous war. But is this something we should try to imitate nowadays? No. And I have really considered, like, these descriptions that we are introducing, they're Shastri, they're real. I wonder how they're affecting our kids. I mean, are they affecting our kids? One time, the head of the GBC for the year, you know, you get a new chairperson every year. So he tells this joke. It was it was a joke about Dravida the gorilla. And his kids used to love that joke, and they loved that story. You know, they'd have him tell the story every night. But for some reason, he mentioned it to the GBC members, and some people got really offended. You know, like, you know, it's like, wait a minute, this is from our Shastra. This is what, you know. Yeah, the woke culture. So I hope we don't become overly woke, but I hope that, you know, that we're able to understand these things ourselves without having too many, you know, concerns holding back, like maybe even some little smirky doubt, you know, doubts like, whoa, what is this? Like even scientists, they accept, okay, they accept the Vedic civilization existed, but they don't necessarily accept the supernatural weapons that also existed. These weapons, they're sometimes compared to modern nuclear devices due to their destructive power and the catastrophic effects. And they're unlimitedly more powerful and direct in their attack than any of our horrible, terrible weapons of today. But even more even more concerning are the demoniac qualities of an Ashuric, an ungodly civilization. And our civilization is just heading that direction so fast, So we need to be individually and collectively very careful that we don't get swept up in the waves of false ego, anger, all of the things that are incompatible with a spiritual society, with a spiritual way of life. And if we do get caught up with some type of destructive element, we can remember the incredible examples such as Prahlad, what to speak of Uttara, the mother of Maharaj Pariksit, and her beautiful prayer, Pahi Pahi Mahayogan Devi Deva Jagapate Nanyam Twad Avyam Pasye Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. O Lord of the Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. A fiery arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. So you see here 2 points. Fearlessness in an incredibly fearful situation, and the loving heart of a mother. Oh. Draupadi. Hey, Govinda! Using the Lord's name, a powerful weapon against an aggressor. Her aggressors were trying to shame her. And Queen Kunti, her most famous prayer is requesting that these calamities and dangers should reoccur frequently so that the family can see Krishna again and again. Because seeing him provides freedom from repeated birth and death. And she also prays, astonishingly, prays to sever the ties of familial affection. That means affection for kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. And why? So her attraction can be constantly drawn to Krishna like the Ganges flows to the sea. 1967, when Srila Prabhupada had his stroke, he asked Brahmananda Prabhu to read these prayers, including the Sanskrit. And at that point, we were just like pretty tongue-tied when it came to the Sanskrit. Prabhupada didn't care. He wanted to hear those beautiful prayers, In the first canto, first chapter, 10th verse, it's a purport that's explaining in the Kali Yuga, the whole atmosphere is charged with faithlessness. Men are no longer interested in spiritual values. Material sense gratification is now the standard for civilization. For the maintenance of such material civilizations, man has formed complex nations and communities, and there's constant strain of hot and cold wars between the different groups. And Prabhupada concludes in his purport, it has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard due to the distorted values of human society. Think of that. And this was written before Srila Prabhupada even left India. And he's giving a hint. Here's what's coming down, here's what's coming. It's not coming to a theater near you. It's coming to any place near you. It's coming to your life. We wonder sometimes, why aren't our temples packed anymore? Where are all the people that should be here? We would like them to be here. But it's become difficult to raise the spiritual standard. due to the distorted values of human society. And that doesn't mean we should lower our standards and lower our principles. On the contrary, they should be increased so that we have the strength to withstand what's happening and the ability to convince others. Because if we're not convinced, we're certainly not going to convince anyone else. You know. In another purport from the sixth canto, he goes, sometimes the members of the Krishna Consciousness Society are afraid of the impending danger of world war. And they ask, what would happen to them if such a war would occur? And he answers, in all kinds of danger, they should be confident of their protection by the Vishnu Dutas, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know. Once he said that there would be a nuclear war. He said it would devastate parts of the world. And the war would start with a nuclear exchange between India and Pakistan. And it would involve nuclear powers. So he wasn't joking. He mentioned this on a morning walk. Very serious. He even ordered that notices be sent to the main temples, urging the leaders to, take steps to prepare for such an impending catastrophe. When the subject was brought up, he commented that devotees would have to endure hardships, but after the war, preaching would be very good for the possibility of spreading Krishna consciousness widely in the world, providing we're Krishna conscious. So time passed, the war didn't manifest, and then Ravindra Swarup Prabhu commented, when Prabhupada was asked about this, like the war didn't happen, Prabhupada responded, Krishna changed his mind. So Ravindra Swarup, he developed the topic a bit further, conjecturing that the reason, maybe, due to the visit of Srila Prabhupada to the Soviet Union, planting the seeds that would later contribute to the collapse of the regime and the appearance of a significant number of devotees. We know the Russian yatra, now it's being challenged again by their person in charge, but a significant number of devotees because of that seemingly innocuous visit by His Divine Grace, planting the seeds. So Krishna changed his mind and created a brighter future for us. That was Ravindra's, concluding words. But at the same time, just because a nuclear war didn't happen in the 70s doesn't mean it may not or could not still happen in the future, whether our current future or in the future of our future. Therefore, as a society, we must seriously take to the propagation of the Yuga Dharma for our benefit, for the benefit of our children, as well as for the benefit of the members, citizens of the world at large. So those are a few thoughts. I'm trying to throw them together. Does anybody have something you could maybe say further? Well, we do know Sri Harinam is the Yuga Dharma. We know that. And there are some unfortunate souls who even doubt that we should go out and chant because, people think we look strange. Hari Bol, do we want to look like everybody else and act like everybody else? Seriously? Is that why you joined this movement? And we want to be distinctive so that people know who to turn to in a time of distress. There are so many stories, I'm sure you know each one of you, where people saw a devotee And maybe it wasn't Harinam. I know so many devotees. One person, it was just a kid, and we were having our Harinam in London, and he saw the party go by, and he was trying to go, and his parents were grabbing, no, you don't want to go to those people. But there he was, and he still is with those people. Hare Krishna. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai.
Jami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Enam Kanvanta Maravindanalayatam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Nishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami Andani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Tiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami 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 Govindam.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Bracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vaskachadi Satarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Goravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Bhatskachari Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe. Radha Golokananda, Golokananda, Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, 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 Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavin ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Ramsika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanashai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mai Pranamani Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki, Srimati Tulsi Devi ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Brihad Mridanga ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinda ki, Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Angaranga Srila Prabhupada. Speaking of Harinam Sankirtan, there is a really, really big football game in Chapel Hill, and it's on Saturday. And the game begins at 12, so we'll be there when they leave the game, which is really good. We'll be there from 3 to 5 on Saturday afternoon at the post office on Franklin Street in Chapel Hill. And, I mean, there's going to be 40 or 50,000 people extra, you know, because of the football game. So there'll be a lot of devotees, and they all come across, not a lot of devotees, potential. There'll be a lot of people, and they all come across the street right at where the post office is, and they have to stand there and hear the Harinam as they wait for the light to change. So it's a really good time. So please put that on your calendar. Saturday at 3 o'clock to 5, and if it's good, we'll go beyond 5, because there'll be lots and lots of people coming out of that game, and hopefully they win, and they'll be really happy. Okay. Chaito Darbana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Hari Krishna Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Janmini Janmini Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Budau Kripayata Vabda Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadridaya Bhukada Avanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlisha Vapadamritam Panastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava Viradatulam Patomat Prananastastu Saiva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one should chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I at your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free in everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Sri Shastika Ki Jai. We'd like to welcome back Chitralekha Mataji, who somehow or other got through customs and and got back in the country. And thank you to the Pujaris, Mata Ratnaradika and Swastika Matajis. Hare Krishna. And welcome back to Amarendra Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And thank you to the cooks downstairs for your tireless service to the deities. Hare Krishna.